of doing business. Let's quickly take a break to bring in my second guest, Dr. of Nigeria, where we'll be talking about another issue, talking about interest rates that was hiked last week by the central bank, MPC. We'll be looking at that more when we return to stay.
That will be too early to call. We have to look at that over the period. We still have another 8 weeks before the next MPC, but immediately you see some reactionary behavior within the market. Rates are already picking up significantly, and that will mean cost of transaction among banks will have also gone up.
Okay.
So that is a signal that yes, liquidity is tight, or cost of fund is a lot higher. That will translate to other lending rates within the economy.
At the
so
last,
seen it.
Yes, at the last MPC meeting, I don't know if stagflation was actually looked at. Stagflation being unemployment as well as rising unemployment rate and rising inflation.
Well, we're seeing rising inflation
welcome back
rate.
to the program, Dr. Hassan. You again.
The rate of
Let's get started. We have a lot to do in the next few minutes. But let me start by asking, since the COVID, interest rate decision announcement
when we came out of recession,
what have last quarter of your colleagues found out, especially like in your department?
Yes, okay, so since we got out of recession,
have you been able to crystallize quite less
growth in 2021?
Feedback from private sector, for example, and from other stakeholders in terms of this MPR raised to 18%, we increase borrowing cost. What have you people crystallized and looking at?
Last quarter, we are looking at 2.25%, which was a decline compared to 3%. There's also projected that business or market survey will end around 2%. Where we collect, you see the sentiments we can say yes, businesses, producers, declining, but not to a level where we are seeing inflation numbers going up, the economy is in sentiment in the market. What is the perception that we are more concerned about? The impact of monetary policy and what the cost of funds is a lot higher. Credit periods ahead, not necessarily declining sharply, because we see some of central bank intervention, played a big role in that process. But now the growth is so when we have those results, central bank also came to a point that monetary policy looking at this input growth for a long time that monetary policy members use for and then neglecting or not giving more attention to inflation, which is eventually wipe up the gains of that we get from there, or parameter we get from there. We call your disposable income is declining month on month. Expected inflation. At the end of it, you still not able to meet your daily needs. So there was this shift of people, investors, deliberate shift, producers, focus on inflation, also significant direction of where the factors were driving inflation. So we saw that move this inflation expectation is also built to be the priorities for and then determinants of inflation. And what we see there is that that sentiment inflation plays a major role in terms of how inflation number still behaves, because don't forget that inflation is just marginally part of the price. Global phenomenon. So when the some economists and central bank continue consecutive quarters of negative growth, bring down inflation numbers, stay where we had, but we've not got to price up so that yes, they can improve inflation numbers are rising, or their gains month to month, and even that will mean month to month inflation numbers are going inflation, like I said the last time, is still also moderated, or the supply is reduced, turning out because of this expectation is high, and that's why we also see that we're doing central banks now, including Central Bank of Nigeria, reducing inflation. Interest rate guidance, negative real interest rate gap that we have between inflation and the last MPI, we're also narrowing that, which means that we're able to raise more resources. Maybe in the money market, we have seen the behavior of
okay, so the MPC is basically holding this pattern, and even the of raising interest rates until what happens down, because in the next, the last 5
that will be too early meetings, to call. We have to look at that
have been
over
high.
the period.
So
we still have
you're raising this pattern until before the next MPC, but immediately you will see perhaps even reduce interest rates that will also reduce borrowing costs. And let me also situate it this way. I would really like to know how the MPC will transition, especially this year, because I know that your posture in 2021 was that of handling a pandemic crisis to recovery.
Other lending rates within the economy.
I'd like to understand what it is. At the last MPC meeting, I don't know against even the backdrop of I don't know if stagflation was actually I'm struggling to see what your position being unemployment as well as rising unemployment rate. That you're holding this pattern, rising inflation rate.
Two major factors.
What is the calibration of the MPC concerning Nigeria's stagflation?
One, we are seeing rising inflation rate projections that we did in the period during the stimulus packages, fiscal and stuff. However, our consolation is the fact that the rate of decline in GDP growth is production more in economic activities, because don't forget that during the COVID, at least that 2 years, that is 2021, when we came out of recession and including domestic,
so we came out of recession
infection,
last quarter of 2020.
Closing shops, factories were closing down, same year, not good to work, so since we got moving recession, and we started posting positive growth in 2021. A lot of money into the system, and our United States did around 25-27% of their GDP as stimulus packages. Other economies did last year or last quarter we are looking at 5.25%, which was a decline compared to that coming in from fiscal and monetary authorities. Central Bank did to end around 3%. So you see, if you see that economic sustainability plan, billions growth of declining of naira, not to a level where we are seeing inflation numbers going up and the economy is in recession. Because supply was not meeting up with that. We started seeing we are more concerned about inflation. Yes, demand pull inflation. And cost of fund is a lot higher. And every economy in the world is not necessarily to reduce that pent up because we see some of central bank interventions, the cost of played a big role in that, so that credit growth will moderate. The growth where that moderates, because central bank also came to a point that we'll be looking at this. Secondly, the global economy was also in a period and then neglected, or the countries that we partner with, that we trade with, were also eventually wipe up the gains of the growth, since we still have some exposure to the international economy decline. We still have some component of imported inflation coming in. Still not be able to meet your daily needs. So there was a widely negative real interest gap. So we had those factors to deal with. So there was a need to tighten factors were driving inflation. So when your question in terms of when you taming inflation, fire, when you stop, that would depend on also by the side of where we think inflation is. So stagflation is not really clear. When we get to that level, or when we're close to that level, we will start slowing down. Or when we see that the tightening is also impacting global phenomenon more negatively, some economies have recorded consecutive quarters of negative growth.
My next interview with you, I hope God helps me, and I will ask you what that threshold will be.
Yes,
because there
inflation numbers are rising.
There's no time for that. And even right now, I was actually laughing earlier when we were talking about situating in the Nigerian, what you guys are doing here with what other people are doing. All the central bankers are just behaving like teenagers.
The rate that we're doing is also narrowing. It's
a bandwagon effect. Thank you very much. I'll have you some other time. Thank you very much, Dr. Mahmoud, for coming. All right, I'm speaking with Dr. Hassan Mahmoud, the Director of Monetary Policy Department at the Central Bank of Nigeria. Monetary policy issues in Nigeria. So much to unpack. Okay, so the MPC is basically holding this pattern, like raising interest rates until what happens, really. Because in the change that you want to see, I am Nancy Naji, interest rates have been high. So you're raising this pattern until what will bear the fact that will make you perhaps even reduce interest rates that will also reduce borrowing costs. And let me also situate it this way. I would really like to know how the NPC will transition, especially this year, because I know that your posture in 2021 was that of handling a pandemic crisis to recovery.
Yeah.
This year, I'm struggling to understand what it is. But I know there's a cost of living crisis. I know there's rising inflation against even the backdrop of other of other economies. So I'm struggling to see what your posture is vis-a-vis what I asked you earlier, that you're holding this pattern until waiting will happen.
Two major factors are driving this tightening policy stance. One, we realize that post-COVID, given the injections that we did, given the stimulus packages, fiscal and stuff, aggregate demand built up substantially without a commensurate build up in supply, production, in economic activities. Because don't forget that during the COVID, at least that 2 years, there were no production globally and including domestic. Because of the infection, people were closing shops, factories were closing down, workers cannot go to work, flights were not moving, so many things. So, but then we're still giving a lot of money into the system. The United States did about 27% of their GDP as stimulus packages. Other economies did up to 40%. Nigeria maybe did 5-6%. A substantial part of that coming in from the fiscal and monetary authorities. Central Bank did close to 12 trillion. So we see a build up in that economic sustainability plan. Billions or trillions of naira went into that space. So that elevated what we call aggregate demand. Because supply was not meeting up with that, we started seeing that pulling inflation, demand pull inflation. And what we did, and every economy in the world did, was to reduce that pent-up demand. And the only way you can reduce that is to increase the cost of fund, so that credit growth will moderate. When that moderates, then you start seeing a slowdown in that space. Secondly, the global economy was also in a period of runaway inflation. The countries that we partner with, that we trade with, were also recording high inflation. So you have a component, since we still have some exposure to the international economy, we still have some component of imported inflation coming in. We have issues around capital outflows because of the widening negative real interest rate gap. So we had those factors to deal with. So there was a need to tighten. And when your question in terms of when do you hold fire, or when do you stop, that would depend on, we have a threshold of where we think inflation is not inimical to growth, it's not damaging to growth. When we get to that level, or when we're close to that level, we will start slowing down. Or when we see that the tightening is also impacting more negatively on output growth, we'll start slowing down, looking at alternative measures.
My next interview with you, I hope God helps me, and I will ask you what that threshold will be.
Okay.
Because
I will give you the number.
There's no time for that right now. I was actually laughing earlier when you were talking about situating the Nigerian, what you guys are doing here with what other people are doing, and I was like, all the central bankers are just behaving like teenagers this period. Just like I did.
It's like that. It's a bandwagon effect.
Yes, it's a bandwagon effect. Thank you very much. I'll have you some other time. Thank you very much, Dr. Mahmood, for coming.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, I've been speaking with Dr. Hassan Mahmood, the Director of Monetary Policy Department at the Central Bank of Nigeria. Monetary policy issues in Nigeria. So much to unpack, really. It's like an economics class, live on television. All right, do the best you can be the change that you want to see. I am Nancy Naji. Bye for now.